Okay, let's see. Okay, tell me your name and what band you're in, and look at him when you say it.
I'm Gabriel. I'm in the band Within Nine Circles with this faggot.
Okay, let's see. What do I want to ask you? Ooh, how did you discover metal, and how old were you? Tristan.
I discovered metal back when I was 12, and the first band I discovered it from. Fuck, I can't do this.
Okay.
I was 12 years old, and then the band was called Papa Roach, and from then I discovered the Guitar Hero, the video game, and then it went from Deathlock to All the Remains to Demi Borgir to Amon Amarth, and then so on and so forth.
Awesome. What do you love about metal? Look at Tristan.
For me, I love how it's not really something that anyone can get into. Like, no one can be born and say, ooh, I want to be a part of that. It's something you have to get into and really appreciate it for its extreme difference compared to other musical genres such as pop, R&B, and basically any other genre that you can imagine. It's something that you really have to appreciate to like, or else it's really not for you.
Awesome. Okay, how do you feel when you listen to metal? Look at Tristan.
When I listen to metal, I feel very, I would say, at peace. Not enraged, as everyone thinks metal says it makes you feel. Because the stereotype with metal is you start listening to it, you just want to kill someone. I feel more at peace than I would listening to any other form of music. Probably even more than Beethoven, which is considered a soothing form of music.
Okay. That's good enough for that question.
I can't take it because he looks at me, he's like...
Okay.
Well, in most metal shows...
This is fun.
In most metal shows, there really is no like, oh, yeah, I don't know you, so I'm not going to talk to you. Everyone will strike a conversation with you. You'll be like, oh, do you like Machine Head? And we'll be like, oh, yeah, I do too. And then a conversation will lead to one or the other. I mean, there really is no separation between the metal culture. It's more like when you find another metalhead, it's supposedly as if you found another brother or sister, because, well, you guys are both into the same thing and there's really nothing to judge you for, so everyone's more welcoming, and metal is really a thing where you can just do whatever you want to do and be whoever you want to be instead of having to follow a specific code, I would say.
That's good. I'm going to use that part. Okay. One of the last questions. Tell me what you know about the Bay Area metal scene.
The Bay Area metal scene is very spread out. Metalheads from all over parts of San Francisco, small quantities from Alameda, all come and support their bands every summer, every fall, whatever it is. And the scene is it's big, but it's very spread out to the point where everyone who is in the metal scene in California will say, oh, I'm from Santa Rosa, I'm from Sacramento, and they've all gone, and they're all coming to a show in San Francisco. The scene is very broad, it's very out there, but finding other people who are in the same scene, in the metal scene, I guess, as you, is very difficult, because some people, I don't know, for some reason have the tendency to want to hide it. That's just their opinion, I really can't say, and that's my opinion at least.
Sweet. Can you name some of the bands that have come from the Bay Area that you know about?
Bands I can think of that come from the Bay Area are All Shall Perish, There was another one in my head. Well, that's all I can think of right now, to be quite honest. All Shall Perish. I think Machine Head.
Oakland.
Machine Head is from Oakland, and from San Francisco, I think Decrepit Birth.
Yep, Decrepit Birth.
And at the moment, I mean, there's so many, but at the moment, those are the only top three I can really think of.
What about, are there any like local bands that you're into?
Locally, there aren't any bands, or at least not that I've heard of.
Interesting though that you bring that up. Actually, can you talk about how people, the general public, I guess, view metalheads and why you think it's unfair?
Well, many people view metal as evil based on the imagery it produces in its lyrically wise and the imagery of the albums. Take for instance the bands Cannibal Corpse or say...
Sorry, I just realized that's why it wasn't working, because the cable was actually torn off.
Take for instance the band's take the band Cannibal Corpse for instance. They always use very brutal, very disturbing imagery in their album covers, and death metal is one of the broadest genres out there, and most people view that as like metal being one thing. Like there is no difference. There are no different subgenres. While there are, I've had me as a metalhead, people walk around me or try to avoid me by either crossing the street, or I'll be walking and the person coming next to me will make a huge loop just to avoid me. They think we're belligerent, grotesque, we don't take showers, and just very mean and dumb people. And for some reason they've established that if you're in the metal scene, you're not a very well educated person. You're lower than society deems you to be, and so I guess people fear that metal is just a very, I guess, barbaric some form of music and lifestyle, which is where, I mean, I personally have found that metalheads are like the nicest, most accepting people at any kind. Even at metal shows, no one is gonna like judge you based on your appearance. They'll want to talk to you if they don't like what you have to say and they don't like your personality. Well, you move on to the next person and then you try to start another conversation. The metal culture is very welcoming, though it seems very brute and grotesque, I would say.
Sweet. Awesome. I actually that's some good shit. I'm gonna use a lot of that.
Wait, should we watch that?
Yeah, we can, after I interview this dude.
Alright.
Oh shit!
That was me.
Thank you, Gabe. Sorry, something in my throat.
Alright.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead, tell me your name and what band you're in.
My name is Tristan Watts. I am in Within Nine Circles as the keyboard player.
Sweet. That's going in for sure. Okay, when did you discover metal? How did you discover it, and how old were you?
I was about 11 years old. My brother brought home Paranoid. He just started to get into metal because he wanted to play guitar. And that's what my dad recommended to him. And he showed it to me, and I was hooked ever since. I mean, I didn't build up a real love for metal up until I went to Ozfest 2004. That was with Black Sabbath and Judas Priest headlining. And it was fucking brilliant.
Sweet. Oh, wait, were you still talking? No? Okay. Okay, what was the next question? Okay. What is it about metal that you love?
Just the technicality, just the theatrics you could put into it, just the things you could do with it. And on top of that, it's just really intense. It's really like motivational. And it can be beautiful at times. It really depends on what kind of metal you listen to. I mean, there's all kinds of metal out there, and it has all kinds of moods. I mean, you got your more extreme genres like death metal and black metal, and then you got ones that are a little bit more focused on being melodic, such as power metal, and or just classic heavy metal like Iron Maiden, for example.
Sweet. Okay. What else did I ask you?
You asked what's my favorite genre.
Oh, could I add something?
Yeah. Look at Gabe.
All right, just for an addendum. Also, it's just the it looks almost like an ecosystem. How expansive metal is, how diverse it is, and also it's just when you're with friends, when you're around other people, it's just a really fun experience that I don't think you get out of most other genres of music out there across the board.
Sweet. How do you feel when you listen to metal? How does it make you feel?
Again, it depends on the genre I'm listening to. Depends on the day. We're all human beings. But generally, I get a good feeling from metal. Because that's generally what happens when you listen to music you like. Despite what a lot of people say, you know, like you want to go out and mosh. Maybe when I'm out at a concert or something like that. It's pretty fun, but generally I try to just listen to my music like any other person would, like a normal human being.
How is that, the whole metal concert experience?
It's not like any other kind of a concert, you know, like, for example, it's not, I guess if you, I guess unless you count like punk or other, maybe some rocks out there, maybe some are out there, some rap artists decided that let's have people mosh to a rap song. I don't know how that would work, but still, like, just the connection between the band and the audience is just really strong. And I've been to other concerts, and these concerts have been non-metal groups, and that it's just not present, you know, that massive connection. What's my favorite genre of metal?
Yeah, and why?
I think I'd have to say power metal. It's very close to what I like to write. What I and also there's a lot of keyboard driven works in power metal, since that's my instrument of choice. Aside from that, I'd say progressive, but usually power metal and progressive goes hand in hand, at least whenever I listen to it.
Sweet. What about the lyrical content in metal?
The lyrical content in metal, what about it?
I guess just talk about, you know, what do they write lyrics about, you know? Does that make you feel? I know there's a bunch of different, you know, metal bands write about a lot of different types of things. But
well, it's definitely angsty, and it's not. Some people would look at it as not as feel good. You know, it's not about, like, there's not a lot of the whole, you know, the like what you see with somebody like Justin Bieber, who will who will write music about, you know, some girl out there that he's looking for, something kind of, you know, like something you would see on the it's first world problems, you know. Not that I'm saying that's necessarily negative, and, you know, if that floats your boat, and, you know, it's good every now and then to listen to a song that's doesn't really, you know, go into any depth, or doesn't really go into anything, you know,
Deep.
Fucking cut that out. For metal lyrics, it's given a reputation for being really intense and, you know, not real feel good, you know.
It's okay, I can edit this.
I'm sorry.
Metal lyrics, it often gets a bad reputation for being intense, you know, going into certain subject matters that most people wouldn't want to, you know, think about, and also taking a spin on them that some other people may not see. You know, it's looked at as a little bit extreme. And for the most part, that can be true, just in a lot of cases, but I don't think that necessarily makes it bad. I actually think that in many ways it makes it good. It means that, you know, the music is actually trying to be serious. Like, I think it's just that metal takes itself very seriously, and the lyrics are just trying to be. It's trying to be serious. It's trying to, you know, trying to connect and trying to relate to its audience. And I think that's something else I didn't state before that makes metal so awesome, is that it's very relatable. It's definitely relatable to especially if you're someone who just, you know, who likes looking at things in a different light and perspective than what most people might look at things. Of course, there's many ways to look at things. That's just my sort of that's covering my ass, being, you know, liberal, limp-wristed. I smoke pot too.
Okay. What do you know about the Bay Area metal scene?
Oh, man. Oh, the Bay Area metal scene. It's pretty much been responsible for. I don't know why I'm going to go into that. You know,
The whole thrash scene thing.
Well,
because that's definitely relevant. It's like
Bay Area metal. Well, as a result of the Bay Area being a very big melting pot of multiple cultures, I think that it's only obvious that metal would get a shot at that too, and it's prospered greatly in the Bay Area. Bay Area is actually really it's a favorite amongst certain metal bands, and it's actually spawned really well known metal bands such as Machine Head, Exodus, Testament. Some of the members of Metallica originated from the Bay Area.
Sweet. Okay, last thing. Just same as I asked him, kind of what do you think about how people view metalheads and view metal, and, you know, if you think it's unfair or any of that?
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, whenever you sort of disrupt the peace, so to speak. That's what it seems like a lot of non-metal heads who think negatively about metal see it as it's sort of disruptive. You know, it's the audience. They're a bunch of barbarians. You know, we like to grow out our hair. I mean, or facial hair for me. You know, for that matter. But you know, and the music is really loud, and because of that connection, you know, loud noises tend to scare people. Ooh. I know I'm being a little bit more I'm trying to be psychoanalytical about it. And
no, that's good. That's good.
But I just feel like, you know, looking at it in that way, you know, just the psychological aspect of heavy metal, you know, for the extremities it goes into, it kind of makes sense that it would garner a group of people who wouldn't like it. I mean, what music doesn't have its set of haters, you know? I mean, that also goes without saying, but metal in particular, you know, it's been there to sort of, you know, question the sensibilities of our culture, you know, such as, you know, censorship, you know, things like religion, politics. It's had a voice on all of that, and it's and a lot of the time it's just been there to be a counterbalance to what a lot of people out there will believe this, and they'll say, hey, let's call that into question. And of course, when things are going, you know, right and dandy, and someone comes out there to sort of, you know, shit on the party, there you go. But I don't think that makes us bad. I actually, like I said earlier, that just means that the people involved in metal are very serious about it.
Awesome. What about, like, the kind of imagery, the whole, like, or like Satan or death? What about the imagery surrounding metal? Do you think that makes people pissed off, or?
Not so much anymore. I mean, it may in the 80s and early 90s. Of course, I'm not saying I was alive then. I'm not that old, but I do know my history quite well on this shit. So I know that back then it was really it was real taboo. Maybe not real taboo compared to other shit, but
sweet.
I'm gonna start over on that. I think the reason why people portray metal negatively or it gets a bad reputation is because it's extreme imagery, it's extreme art. It takes things in directions that a lot of other music doesn't tend to go into. It takes risks, and whenever you got something like that going on, if you look at any artist back in history who, you know, jazz went through the same thing. You know, they took a huge leap. You know, they stepped across a bunch of big line of no-nos, and as a result, it garnered a bunch of hatred because there's a fear that it's going to destroy the culture as people know it at the time. And metal is sort of looked at that way as the same thing, even though it's not so much anymore. It looks like lately it's been given more acceptance, as in, you know, you don't have the PMRC anymore, you know, trying to braid itself into our lives, even though they've already got the parental advisory sticker. But who cares about that anymore, really?
All right, sweet. That was awesome. One last thing. Need you to make a really angry face on me. Really angry face.
So your teeth.
That is perfect.